I want to tell you the story of a man named Pelanon Grimm. Pelanon was born and raised in the city of Waterdeep. He was a quiet child who grew to a quiet adult, unobtrusive, unsocial, forgettable. Except for the fact that he could see the future. Pelanon, as it turned out, was a diviner. Unlike a wizard who studies the school of divination, a diviner's abilities are inherent, more like a gift than a skill. Pelanon discovered this fact about himself early in life, but kept it hidden well into his adulthood. You see, Pelanon resented his abilities to divine. It made everything tedious. What was the point of having a conversation when you'd seen every possible version of it 2 weeks ago? What was the point of learning new things when you could already see the outcome to every problem that might require one? What was the point of anything when you could see everything? Pelanon was eventually roped into the role of Lord Diviner of Waterdeep by a clever wizard who found him out, a position which he took only reluctantly, knowing that it was the only way to keep the wizard from hounding him for years. His rise in station did not make him happy. Nothing ever did really make him happy. Then, one day, he was captured. It seems strange, doesn't it? How is a man who knows every possible outcome of every decision he makes capable of being captured? The answer is, of course, that he isn't. When he scrawled the name of his kidnapper inside the door of his armoire, he didn't do it for the benefit of an investigator who might come looking for him. He did it because he knew one Mr. Escher Linz Tremaine would find it long after he was already dead, and would use that knowledge to do something far more important than save his life. What is one to learn from the life story of Pelanon Grimm? What lessons does one take from a man who allowed himself to be captured by a cult because he hated his life and his gifts so much that he was willing for any way out, even if that way out was capture and imprisonment? And perhaps more importantly, what do we learn from his death? Pelanon Grimm died screaming. He died stabbing his own eyes out with rocks that he had painstakingly sharpened on the edges of his own manacles. His final prophecy drove him mad. He saw through the veil and killed himself. I saw through it too. I nearly did the same. What do we learn from this? What do we learn? We learn that nothing means anything. There's no lesson to learn from a self-loathing prophet and his final odious blood prophecy. He hated his life and his gifts right up until they killed him. Pelanon Grimm doesn't even exist. He's a story. He's words. And I am so tired of words. Outside the mouth of a cave, the goddess Beshaba is standing directly in front of you. Behind her is an army of cultists, as well as 2 emerald dragons that Salvador spared, and a rot troll that Salvador also spared, and even Vestavius Gaunt, who Salvador also spared. All ghosts of sparings past.
Huh. 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 Great.
And Beshaba is staring ruefully, and she says, I hate it when that bitch does that. When she breaks it off right in the middle of the interesting part. You know, I've been stuck here for 2 weeks.
Seems appropriate.
Ariazi's like, what? Okay.
Sorry?
Ugh, useless.
Niall looks around about what? Niall looks around at the group and she's like, run. We should run. Let's just run. Run now.
Running sounds like a good idea. I like
run
that
where?
Idea.
Yeah,
Salvador
like
asks.
back into the cave. Ariazi's is like, you know that great place that we just came out of?
Well, the Oblex is dead, but on the other hand, it's a goddess and an army of cultists.
Right.
Yeah,
Shiraka, by the way, is here. I forgot to mention, you guys are kind of caught up in it. Shiraka, now that he is outside of the Shadowfell, you've never seen him outside the Shadowfell. In the Feywild or in any place that's not the Shadowfell, he actually appears like a normal elf, without all the wrinkles and whatnot.
I mean, what do you what do you want us to do? I mean, like, there's not many options, guys.
Well, I think she made it clear what she wants to do. She wants you to give her the thing, Selwyn, which we don't want you to do.
Shiraka says, "You're really gonna give her the nightstaff after all this?"
No. Are you insane?
Beshaba says, "It's the only way. Take out the nightstaff. Do it."
There's gotta be another way.
Just, and Selwyn just is, like, racking her brain, trying to think of literally anything. Like, you know, she's low on spell slots. She's really, you know, not great on health. She really doesn't want to do this thing that the...
Salvador, I will remind you, Salvador can cast Divine Intervention. It has a 10% chance of working at level 10. But, you know, desperate times.
Desperate times,
Yeah.
true. I feel like that's the only option we have, because I'm like, our chances of running, not great. Fighting, like, not great for people without spell slots.
I feel like Selwyn's just, like, is kind of a nervous tick, like, flicking her spell book, and you could just kind of see the, like, half second where it finally occurs to her what other bomb she has in her bag. And she turns pretty pale again. Guys, I think we might have another option. I have that scroll.
Whatever, do the thing. Whatever, do the thing. Just do the thing right now. It's real bad.
Wait, Nyla, what scroll?
We don't have time for this.
Scroll of Wish.
Beshaba comes stalking forward.
I am frantically digging in my bag. Frantically.
I've been waiting here for 3 weeks now. You still haven't come up with a plan? How stupid is this necromancer, Val?
Fuck you! Not that stupid. She hasn't had any time.
Who is she talking to, Nyla?
I don't know. And
I have no fucking idea.
Okay.
I pull out the scroll and...
What is that?
Not important.
Selwyn, really? Ariazis looks really nervous.
Sal, now would be a good time to but you haven't got us or something. Do the thing.
Salvador looks at you. He looks at his holy symbol. There is a conflict on his face. But he says, I can try. So how Divine Intervention works? The cleric rolls a 1d100. If the number rolled is equal to his level or below, the goddess is summoned, so that means it has to hit a 10 or below. Which is, you know, not a high chance, but let's see what happens. Nope.
Yep.
He clasps his hands together, and nothing happens.
Well, that's not helpful.
Qatar puts a hand on his shoulder like, thank you for trying.
Salvador doesn't answer. He's staring he's staring at his holy symbol, and the expression on his face is kind of hard to read.
I glance at the others, and I think we have to.
Okay. I mean, using the nightstaff is also a bad idea, but I think this is less bad.
I don't want to kill anyone if I can avoid it.
Right?
Whatever you're gonna do, just do it right now. Do it fast.
Okay. Selwyn just, like, squeezes her eyes shut and just prays to whatever deity is listening. And cracks the seal on the scroll and unrolls it.
What is that? Where did you get that?
I gotta remember exactly what I was thinking.
The wording of Wish is very, very important.
Yeah. So, out of character, guys, 2 options. One is Enchanted Sleep, to buy us some time for Beshaba and her whole army. And the other is banishing them to a demiplane.
Oh, that one. Do that one.
Okay.
Yeah, banishment. I like banishment. Baku had good times with banishment, but I'm, like, really worried.
Actually, I don't know. banishing a goddess doesn't.
I know, like, what if she's just like, okay, I'll just live in your world then, in the internet. Woo-hoo-hoo.
No, demi-plane. It would be in the same planar system.
Okay.
She has proven that she can travel between planes.
Yeah.
Presumably, she can also travel between demi-planes. However, it would slow her up. You have reason to believe. It would definitely give you enough time to fucking book it.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is good. Yeah, that's a good option.
Or the sleep. Maybe the sleep one. Maybe because
I'm more for sleep, like, just because I'm like, sleep is longer.
But the question is she immune to it? That's the
right. Exactly. What if it doesn't work?
I have her.
I bet
her
she's
character
immune to it. She's probably immune to it. Never mind. Banish her.
Okay, so we're thinking.
There's no way a god. There's no way a god is not going to be immune to like.
All right, so we're going with banishment.
Mm-hmm.
I vow the player don't know anything about the planes, so like I can't pick a plane that I don't know what I would say specifically.
I mean, theoretically, any plane would work as long as it's not this one.
Yeah.
Either one would slow her up. If you wanted to make her miserable, you could go for like Gehenna, which is one of the shittier planes.
This is true. But how do I not know that? Or how do I know if she doesn't have allies there?
If you want to make a chaotic evil character miserable, you send them to like Mount Celestia or something.
Right, exactly. Some happy place. Are you just gonna banish Beshaba and just leave us with all the cultists?
No, I was gonna.
Can you only do one at a time? I don't know how wish works.
I can only do one wish.
Yeah.
So I can't be like, I wish that they would all vanish and never come back, or something like that, or I wish they would all vanish and fall into a sleep.
Mm-hmm.
But I can do. I wish that Beshaba and her armies would
do a thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I
I told her in advance I'm going to be persnickety about her use of and because it gets you one wish. So
yeah. Okay, so guys, Gehenna or Mount Celestia? What do we should go?
Mount Celestia sounds like more fun because it would make her most unhappy.
She just like shows up with a room full of gods. Probably not fun for anyone.
Right. All the good aligned gods are like, what the fuck?
And because it's lawful plane, it's like, do you have an invitation, ma'am?
Right. Like, fuck invitations. Somewhere, Baku twitches. Someone is breaking the law.
Actually, Baku worships Bahamut, and Bahamut lives in Mount Celestia.
Oh yeah,
so
that's
maybe
right.
Baku should get an inkling. Like Bahamut, like shows up at Baku's house, like, so a strange thing happened the other day. Do you have any idea?
Baku, I have no time for this. Please go away.
All right, so Selwyn cracks the seal and unfurls the scroll and frantically reads it out and says, I wish for Beshaba and her armies to be banished immediately to Mount Celestia.
Wish? Wait, that's the... How did you... And before she can even finish getting her question out, it's like the ground opens up underneath her feet. There's this enormous, it's got to be 200 feet across, gate that goes in all directions, shining golden light. Her followers are the ones who fall, literally, through first. The dragons after that... who were not expecting it and didn't have time to, flap their wings and get the fuck away. Right. And then, finally, Beshaba herself staring vengeance. If you think this is... And then there's this loud crack of magic, and suddenly the plane is empty in front of you.
Run!
So, knees buckle for a second.
I think we should go now, Selwyn.
Yeah, there's no pausing. Let's fucking go. I grab your arm and I just...
Yeah, right.
Ariadne
grabs her other arm. It's like, let's go!
Your strength, Selwyn, is reduced to 3.
Okay.
Sweet!
You can't cast spells without hurting yourself for a while. And I would like you to roll a 1d100, please. Okay, you're fine.
Hey,
That's
but I
not ominous at all.
Yeah, I know it's not ominous, but I
Tessa.
upped Qatar's strength so he could also lift you with his newly beefy arms.
Okay,
Salvador is
strength
insanely jealous for like 3 seconds and then gets over it.
So strength was 3, no magic.
And the 1d100 was to see if you could ever cast Wish again, which you can.
Oh. Yay!
I mean, hopefully you don't need
Like,
to.
hopefully never have to fucking do that again.
Right.
Okay.
So yeah, you watch as Selwyn is suddenly and ghoulishly emaciated right in front of your eyes. She already didn't have a lot of muscle mass because, wizard.
Right.
But, like, it gets really bad all at once. You can see suddenly, like, the bones start to poke out through her shoulders and through her elbows.
Yeah, Ariazi's just like goes really pale. Like,
oh, and the scroll burns up in her hands.
Yep, we have to go.
We have to get as far away from this place as possible right now.
Yep,
definitely.
right now. Pick her up or something. Let's go.
Okay.
Qatar is probably best suited.
Qatar is going to be like, if you don't mind, I'm sorry.
I look at her. I'm like, even emaciated, just still heavier than I am. So we gotta go.
So
Qatar's going to scoop her
up. You guys fucking book it. You bolt for the tree line. You go. It's a moor. My bad. It's a moor that you end up crossing. You just kind of start running, and then you just don't stop running. Shiraka is still with you because he's a little alarmed too. He wants to make sure that you guys are all okay. You eventually do find a copse of trees after about maybe 4 hours of just fucking running. And finally, you are all left to breathe. I imagine, even with strength 3 Selwyn, carrying, 120 pounds of elf, is pretty physically taxing.
Right. Oh, he's all sweaty, Salvador.
And so is Sal now. No, he's actually very, very distracted. You eventually do set up camp because you all need a long rest. Boy, do you guys need a long rest.
God, we do, yes.
That's what you're talking about. I'm fine.
You know what? Shut up. I can't wild shape.
So go ahead and give yourselves the benefits of a long rest.
Yay! Good. Also, my health was concerning for both. Yeah. Both of my little druids.
Does anything... Shiraka does stick around, eventually. You get the feeling, Selwyn, that he's sticking around because Salvador. They did have that little almost flirting thing that they did in the Shadowfell. But Salvador, wow, is he ever not interested in flirting right now? He looks awful. Like, you can tell that Beshaba, her little directed attack, it worked, it landed, boy did it land exactly as intended. He is, the entire time you set up camp, he is staring at his holy symbol, the gem full of water, on a ring. And he is absolutely deathly quiet. What's everyone else doing?
Ariazzi's is definitely fussing over Selwyn now,
Aww. Just catching my breath. I'm
chanting. Vale's breathing. I like that.
What about Qatar?
He's conflicted. He heard some things from other people, but he didn't really hear too much from Sal because Sal was too busy kissing him. That's a thing that happened.
Well,
I mean, Oblex, not Sal, the Oblex, but but it's something that Sal wants to do.
It is definitely something Sal wants to do. Yes, that is the price paid for confronting an Oblex.
It sure is. So I guess he's going to approach Sal and be ask if he's okay.
Sal doesn't answer. He is staring directly at his ring. He's staring directly at his ring and kind of turning it around his finger, fussing with it. But no, he doesn't answer the question. It's not even entirely clear if he heard Qatar.
Qatar is going to... is Sal sitting down? Is he standing and is staring at the ring, or what's he?
We'll say you set up camp in a little copse of trees. So we'll say he's sitting down on a large, flattish rock near camp.
Yeah, so I think Qatar is going to sit down next to him and gently just touch his shoulder to see if Salvador is has realized that he's there.
It definitely catches him a little bit off guard. And because Feywild, his immediate inclination is to be touching me is a bad idea. He kind of flinches his shoulder away.
Apologies, I didn't know if you realized I was here or not.
It's alright, I'm kind of thinking about stuff.
Your expression is hard to discern.
Well, that makes sense because I'm not really sure what to feel.
About what?
Didn't you hear her?
I did.
You weren't there, you weren't in Scornable, but he's silent for a minute. He says, I convinced them, and I imagine that the others can't really hear.
Yeah, they're...
I convinced them to spare the lives of all the cultists in the temple outside Scornable. And in doing so, the city guard at Scornable took them into into imprisonment, and because of that, Beshaba destroyed an entire city. My mercy destroyed an entire city. And that's to say nothing of the fact that apparently all my friends hate. And he can't even get the word out. He sort of doubles over and he's staring really hard at his ring.
It's a lot for Qatar to take in, but like he does let Salvador like go through all of this. And he's like, you realize it wasn't you that killed them, right? It was Beshaba. You can't blame yourself for something a goddess like her would do. She would do anything.
I don't see the point in waxing philosophical about this, Qatar. However you slice it, wherever you assign blame, my actions led to the deaths of thousands of people. And they led to the resentment of my friends. Qatar, I don't know if you realize this, but I don't have anyone anymore. And you can see like tears are starting to fall down his face. I lost everyone. My family, my people, my glade. Those 3 doofuses over there, they're the only people in the entire world that I have left. And they hate me. They resent everything that I am.
Qatar looks like he does that thing where like he instinctively reaches out but then pulls his hand back. I know that I wasn't there for a lot of what happened. I know that I'm an outsider, and my words may not mean as much as I hope they will. But it was, at least I think, it was noble of you to spare their lives. I think when someone is in danger, their first inclination is to fight back. And for you to not want to fight back or not want to kill them is very noble, for what it's worth.
This is the sort of thing that would normally feel very validating, but he just found out this is the exact feature of himself that all his friends resent. So he's really having a hard time hearing it. And he says, my mercy and my pacifism have earned me nothing but the mistrust of the only people that I have left in the entire world. And he says, I can't lose them, Qatar. They are all I have left. Something has to change inside of me if I want to keep them. And he turns his back on Qatar and quietly he slips the ring off his finger and shoves it into his bag. So, Salvador lifts his head only because it was a voice he didn't expect. The crunching of leaves and brush behind him grows closer, and a moment later, Shiraka is sitting next to him. It's still strange for Salvador to see him like this, fresh-faced, youthful, decidedly more elvish, even with his usual deathly pallor. He looks handsome. Salvador had always thought he was handsome, but now especially so. He's surprised by how much it does not affect him. Been a while, Shiraka says. I'd ask how you've been, but I don't tend to ask questions I already know the answer to. Sal smiles joylessly. It's been a hard couple of weeks, he admits. Does Selwyn always summon you specifically when she uses that spell? It could be any Shadarkai, theoretically, Shiraka answers, but I want it to be me. At the risk of scaring you off, I've become rather invested in your adventure. Sal's dismal smile doesn't fade, but it doesn't get any stronger either. For a few moments they both stare at each other in lingering, unsteady silence, until Shiraka finally continues. But I get the feeling that these efforts on my behalf may have come a bit late. Without meaning to, Sal looks across the camp at Qatar, trancing against a tree. Shiraka's gaze follows his. They both know what this means, clearly, but it hurts a little too much for either of them to say it out loud. He seems like a good man, Shiraka admits with some reluctance. You're a good man too, Salvador says. Don't worry yourself too much over the state of my heart, Shiraka says. I've felt worse pains than this in my life. It's not personal, Sal says. I hope you know that. It says nothing about who you are. I find it difficult to love the moon after I've seen the sun. Salvador looks across at Qatar again. This time, Shiraka doesn't follow his eyes. He's staring straight at Salvador, and there's a detached curiosity on his face. Eventually, Shiraka closes the distance between them and kisses Salvador's forehead. It's platonic, benedictory almost, less of a gesture of affection and more like a goodbye. You make the world around you brighter, Salvador, Shiraka says. However tough these weeks have been for you, I hope you don't lose that light. Sal watches Shiraka stand, watches him walk away from camp and vanish in a twist of smoky magic. Then he looks back at Qatar and swallows the knot of pain and affection in his throat. This, he knows, is going to be hard.
How's Selwyn doing?
Probably feeling kind of sickly, if I had to guess.
Yeah, not great.
You're not being nearly dramatic enough.
I am so sorry that I am not on Ember Tremaine levels of melodrama here.
Thank you.
It's just not
Selwyn's
Selwyn's style.
Selwyn's like, I'm fine, and then Ariaz is like, oh, good news. Like, everything's fine, it's good.
Selwyn, like, buckles behind her and nobody notices. No, I mean, like, she had a big family. She, like, doesn't like making a big deal because everything was always a huge deal because there's so many people fighting to be heard. And, like, no, she's not doing great, but, like, she's also, like, please stop making a fuss. Like, we had no other options. I knew this could happen. Like, literally.
Ariazzi's is like, cool, but your bones are showing.
Okay, I mean, like, I think that's temporary.
You think?
I've never used Wish. It's not something that I've ever studied.
I don't know magic like you do, so if you don't know, then I don't know even less. Wait, that made no sense. I'm making no sense, Selwyn.
I haven't studied the intricacies of it. It's not like this is a spell that normally I'd be able to cast.
Do you know at least, like, other side effects that I should be worried about in the immediate future?
That's actually a good point. Like, does Selwyn know about the fact that she can't cast magic?
You can have her roll an Arcana check to see what she knows about the side effects of Wish.
A 27, good roll.
Yeah, with a 27, she knows pretty much everything. Like, she probably, like, any time a book mentions Wish, like, half of the explanation of Wish is dedicated to why you should not use Wish if you can do absolutely anything else, right? Like, right. Every copy of the Wish spell always has this big disclaimer, like, warning, if you can do something else, do that thing first.
I think, though, that Selwyn isn't gonna necessarily tell Ariazzi's all of that.
Oh yeah, I know. You have to pick what you're gonna say to her.
Yeah, I mean, she definitely does not want you to worry nearly as much as you apparently are. I'll be weak for a while, and I don't think I can cast spells for a day or two, but
yeah, go back to that spell thing real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, I kind of, just refresh my memory. I'm pretty sure you're a wizard, right?
And a warlock.
And a warlock, right. And both of those things, I think, I'm not sure, like, I don't know magic like you do, once again, pretty sure both of those things require some magic using a little bit, right?
I believe that effect goes away with a long rest, but it would not be out of, like, I imagine Selwyn probably wouldn't want to cast magic for a little bit longer, just in case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It deals 1d10 necrotic damage per level of the spell you cast every time you cast, if I recall correctly.
I think so, yeah. I know, but, I mean, there's other ways I can defend myself, and I can always...
Nyla's been listening, and she's like what? How? You're very skinny. I can see your
Nyla.
collarbone.
Not helping, Nyla.
I have my other staff, like my normal staff, and I just kind of, like, very casually, like, swing it over Nyla's head. Like, I do know how to use this. It's not just for show.
As a quarterstaff is a martial weapon to which you add your strength modifier every time you attack.
Yeah, I know.
Which is like -4 at the moment, I believe.
Right.
I can also use a bow.
You don't have a bow, I don't think.
I know I don't, but I can use one.
So how long does this last? I don't think I quite realized the implications of this is going to be.
The strength lasts 1d4 days, I believe.
Yeah, I'm checking that now.
Maybe it's 2d4?
Each time you cast a spell until you finish a long rest, you take 1d10 necrotic damage per level of the spell.
So you just had a long rest, so technically you're fine on that. Although Selwyn may not know that immediately, so...
Right. Your strength drops to 3 for 2d4 days. Yeah.
You can roll that now if you want to.
Okay.
4 days, okay.
So let's see, it says, for each of those days you spend resting and doing nothing more than light activity, my recovery time decreases by 2 days.
Yeah, but you are going to be walking, so that's not like...
There's no way.
Yeah, there's no way. It's 4 full days.
Yep.
So hopefully that answers some questions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I should be able to cast magic again, like I said, in a day or two.
Yeah, it's fine. I'll just, use Nyla as a weapon in the meantime.
What?
Halfling toss!
Yeah, you said last time. Remember, when I tossed you up to Stormy, that was cool, right? So I could do that again?
Actually, you know what? Yeah, if we can, slingshot the hell out of this, that'd be awesome.
Salvador comes back and he puts the firewood he's scavenged down and starts building the campfire. Oh yeah, Stormy has been here too. And Sassy. They're both here.
Stormy and Sassy, yeah. Ariazi's looks at her father and is like, I think we should go hunting. And food. Anybody else hungry?
Food sounds amazing.
Great, let's go, Dad. He's like, what? Oh, okay. And they go off and go hunting.
I'd make, if it was someone other than Qatar and Ariazi's doing it, I'd make you roll, but no. The druids are fine. They find, a rabbit or some shit like that. It's fine.
Something I think I see Sal building the fire, and I go over, and I actually don't need to kneel, because I'm exactly his knee height.
Yeah, exactly.
So I just stare at him from face level. And
awkwardly.
And I'm like, it's a really good fire, man.
Salvador's thanks. I think.
This is not awkwardly trying to give compliments. She's bad at compliments. She's like, I just saw it. I was very impressed. I just wanted to tell you that it's an excellent fire. You did a good job.
Okay. He uses Sacred Flame to light the little bundle.
Well, see, I couldn't do that, so it's very impressive.
Now, do you want to tell me what this is about? Because this is weird. This thing you're doing right now is very weird.
I was trying to compliment you. Isn't that what people do? To say nice things about other people.
Yeah?
Well, then I did it. You're welcome.
Nyla connecting on an emotional level, ladies and gentlemen. It's an art piece.
I think she sits out heavily and she's like, I guess what I'm trying to say is
that's a really good fire.
It's a really good fire.
You are great at surviving.
I know we all said really hurtful things, but we didn't say them out loud to each other. Well, I mean, I didn't. I don't remember what I might have said to you, is what I'm trying to get. I'm very sorry if I said something rude.
Don't worry about it. He desperately tries to change the subject. Roll perception, Nyla. A natural 20!
Nice!
Hachi-machi. Hachi-machi. With that 21, Salvador is no longer wearing his holy symbol.
Oh, fuck.
Maybe he just took it off to build the fire? He's not putting it back on, though.
But I've never seen him with it off before, right?
Never, no.
I look at him again, and I look down pointedly. Sal, what's going on?
He says we should get some rest. And he goes to make his bedroll.
No, I mean, I agree with that. Hey, Sal, back me up. Get up. I know you're not feeling well, but get up.
This is more important than your pain.
It is. That's very true. Sal's actually. I think I look at Zoe and I'm like, Sal's not wearing his holy symbol.
What?
Have you ever seen him without it? Because I've never seen him without it, and he's not wearing it.
I haven't.
I don't even know what that means. You're religious, aren't you? What does that mean?
I mean, technically, no, I'm not, but...
Her religion score is probably higher than yours, but she's not, like, religious.
Right.
Yeah, but, like, she's like, I would say this to your face. Like, you slept with a god, so that makes you more religious than me.
That's
So,
what religion is,
again,
right? Fucking a goddess?
Right, that's how religion works, uh-huh.
In real life, Amber, is that not how religion works?
I mean, it would be a real religious experience.
Hey!
Hey!
Oh, we got jokes here at Crit Fail Club.
I know, right? We got jokes.
I'm
Subscribe.
quite proud of that one. I am not usually that
Make
on
sure to
par.
unsubscribe.
And then resubscribe.
Oh, man.
No, don't resubscribe. We don't deserve it, clearly.
That's not how it works, Nyla. No. But it's not good.
It's like, okay, but it's like a bad sign, right? You've known religious. Look, nobody I know is religious. This is very confusing to me. But
I
it
mean,
just seems
it's-
out of character, and it's just he's been real out of character in general. But this seems bad.
It would be like me getting rid of my spell focus. Like, it's really not good. I
Okay,
don't-
so we gotta go talk to him. Let's go talk to him.
Can you kind of help me stand up, please?
I mean, I'm a lot short.
Lean on
like,
me,
it's okay.
literally.
Like, just
Use
help
me as a
push me up.
crutch.
Put your hand on my head, I guess. I don't know how I'm gonna help here, but go
Shoulder.
for it.
I use you and a tree to help haul myself up.
Sal is already lying down on his bedroll by this point. He's spent a lot of spell slots, so he's super, super tired.
Sal,
Mm.
we don't know what you heard, but clearly it's affecting you,
Doesn't matter.
doesn't it?
It does matter. Does matter.
Guys,
not
I'm
usually
really
gonna say
tired. Can we do this later?
this. No.
Think I'm not tired too?
He turns reluctantly over in his bed. He says, "You're really gonna hound this. You're not just gonna let it go."
When have we ever just let something go, Sal?
Listen, I learned what I needed to learn in that cave, and it's fine. I'm doing what I can. Please just leave it alone.
What did you think you learned in that cave? Sal, this is the thing. You would never. You don't give up on us. That's why we're here.
Of course, I'm not giving up on you. Of course I'm not.
No, I know. You're not giving up on us. You're giving up on you.
That's not what I'm doing either.
Kind of feels like it.
I'm giving up on Eldath! Isn't that what you want?
No.
What?
What?
Of course not.
Don't fucking lie to me! I heard you in the caves! Every single one of you resents... It's not important. Look, I'm doing what I have to do.
It's very, you, that's who you are.
I'll find another god, it doesn't matter. I can still be your cleric, I can still heal, I'll just do it under a different banner.
We don't want a cleric, Sal. We want you.
I'm still here!
No, not like this. That's not you. I don't want you to change. I can't speak for everyone else, but I'm sure they feel the same way. We don't want a different person, Sal. We want you. We want the person. That's
That's not the impression I got from the Oblex. The impression I
Yeah,
got from the Oblex was that every single one of you secretly resents my pacifism, and I can't lose you. You guys are the only things I have left, so I'm gonna do whatever it takes to keep you around, and if that means giving up Eldath, fine, that's what that means. I've made bigger sacrifices.
We'd never.
How many times do we have to tell you we aren't going anywhere?
Well, I need to make sure of it, don't I?
This isn't the.
Please, just
No.
let it go. I'm tired. I want to rest.
It's been a long day. It has been a long day, and we got to talk about plans in the morning. But we also.
That thing didn't do more than find tiny thoughts, things that we don't know how long any of them were thought. Just because we might have felt that way doesn't mean we still do.
It was
There-
less than 6 hours ago, Selwyn. Please stop trying to justify it. It's okay. I mean, after seeing the consequences of my constant need for peace and empathy, I get it. That empathy destroyed a city. I get it, okay? I can understand why you hate it so much, but please, just This is a lot, okay? It's a lot for me to do, and I'll do whatever it takes, but please just let it go for now. I'm so tired.
It's the equivalent of the thing you do where you're fighting with your significant other and you just like spend all night talking in circles and don't get anywhere.
Yeah.
I think I go over to him and I'm like, can I just have a hug?
Salvador starts crying, but he tries to not let on. But he hugs you.
I give him a huge hug and I'm just like, I just want you to know that I love you. And I've never said that before to anyone.
Oh, character development.
I'm missing this. God damn it.
Someone had to go off hunting.
And I just don't want you to change. And she just starts crying and she just like flees. Like she gets up and just, like
Salvador opens his mouth to respond and she's gone. He's like, okay, never mind.
She literally stealths into the fucking night. She's like, this was too many emotions.
I don't like emotional vulnerability!
And so it just kind of like stares after her like, what the fuck? Sal, we can talk about it whenever you're ready. I don't want to let it drop, but I'm exhausted too.
You more than most. And he lies back down. He really does not want to talk about this.
Yeah. She kind of fidgets and, reaches down and just squeezes his shoulder gently and then goes to
Hobbles
spread out
away.
a blanket or something. Like, she doesn't sleep, but God, does she wish she could.
So, long rest. You'll have a long rest. So, do you guys want to regroup in the morning, like talk about where you need to go and everything?
Yes.
It's been a minute since you've reestablished the plot of where the fuck you're going.
Yeah, actually, can we get a reminder?
It is
No,
Everspring.
I will.
There we go.
Well, technically, you're heading near Everspring. You're trying to find a coven of hags, probably,
Yes.
that live near the city of Everspring.
There's on the foot of a hill.
The foot of a cliff,
See,
yes.
I took notes. Okay, cool.
Oh,
It was a cliff,
but you rode hill and not cliff.
Whatever, same thing. Not the same thing as a rock climber. Anyways, okay. So yes, we definitely need to talk about strategy and everything like that. So can we convene?
Yeah, in the
Yeah.
morning.
You can, Sal will have, like, it's a map of Faerun, but it's like, it's the Feywild, so it's like, it's good enough. Like, the Feywild is just an echo of Faerun, so maps are usually pretty accurate.
Okay, so there's a couple things we got to talk about off the
Yeah.
bat here. First off, how long did whatever you did, how long is that going to last?
Don't know.
Excellent.
Off to
start.
a good start, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do?
I banished them to another plane.
Mount Celestia, as I recall,
Yeah.
Salvador adds.
Yeah, this is the first thing that came to mind.
Okay, so do we have any idea? Okay, we just don't know. It means we got to book it. We got to do all this fast. We don't have time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's any place in the world that's going to trip Beshaba up and keep her distracted, it's going to be in Mount Celestia.
That's fair. Well, we thank you for your service, Selwyn.
You're welcome.
Ariazi's like, looks at Selwyn like, you told me not to worry or fuss. I'm gonna, but
I
I'm
don't
not gonna
listen
show
to
it on my
anything you
face.
say, so...
I'm fine.
Okay,
I'll be fine.
so it's gonna buy us some time, but we don't know how much. So we can't dally. We gotta get going.
Yeah.
And to this
So
point,
we're-
Sal is, he's, as you have been talking, he's been tracing bits of the map, and he says, Everspring shouldn't be very far right now. It should only be a couple days away.
Okay, so do we know which direction we're headed after this?
We are headed northwest.
Okay, and we know we're gonna get to a coven of hags, which is probably not a good thing.
Yeah. I should be able to cast again by that point, for sure.
If you can't, it's probably a better idea to just wait. Let you recover. We need the glass cannon up and running.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Qatar like doesn't want to hurt you, but he was gonna clap you on the back, but then it's like, nope, don't break her.
Qatar
So
claps
instead-
Selwyn on the back and fractures her spine.
Exactly. Just hovers his hand behind your back, Selwyn, and it's just like, just take care of yourself. We'll help you.
Thank you.
Okay, but we gotta go We gotta make our way over there.
Agreed.
So I think we have a direction, and we got a plan. Well, we don't have a plan, but we'll have a plan as we get closer.
When have we ever had a plan in this party?
I was like, I've been noticing there's no plan.
Plans are for good parties who know what they're doing.
Hey.
So, Everspring is about 2 days away, so that chops off half of your recovery time, Selwyn. By the time you do get to Everspring, you feel significantly better. You're still not at 100%, obviously, but you can tell that the magic is starting to wear off. So, Everspring, you never thought you would find a city that you like, Ariazis, but you like Everspring. Everspring it's like, you almost mistake it for a forest. From a distance, it looks like a forest, except you can see that there are signs of man-made structures, like there's a wall that goes around the perimeter of the city, but the wall is choked with ivy. The buildings wrap around the trunks of enormous trees, and they are glittering with fairy lights. You can hear some music coming from inside, although the entire city itself seems to be shrouded, like... so, it's winter in the Feywild, but like, seasons are fucking meaningless in the Feywild, right? Like, what's the weather? Well, ask someone around you how they're feeling. That's how the weather is. It's almost like a perfect line outside the city of something that's kind of spring-like. It's, happy, there are birds chirping, and then you hit, like, this wall of cold air, and the whole city seems to be caught in some sort of stagnant, snow hazy sleet storm. But it is definitely Everspring, like, it's the only city you can see for miles. But even in the winter, it's fucking pretty as hell. Like, there's snow and ice. Oh, I should probably mention Salvador. As he's been walking, his winter Eladrin form has been getting winterier. Winterier. I'm a writer. Like, before it was like there were icicles at the tips of his hair, but now it's like his entire head of hair is just like one glacial drape down his upper
just
back.
one block of ice. Nice.
Yeah. His fingertips are like frosty blue. It's getting pretty difficult to ignore. But yeah.
Ariazi's like grabs a guitar and is like, look at that city. It is so beautiful. Please get me a city like that. And he's like,
get you a city?
Buy you a city? What? That's not what?
How rich do you think I am? And it's kind of hard to ignore how fucking pretty Everspring is. Which Everspring, hilariously, seems to be in the grips of a very, very deep winter.
Yeah. But
yeah, you make your way inside the city of Everspring, and it's pretty gorgeous. The streets are kind of slick with sleet and ice. The denizens... So Everspring is about as different from Neverwinter as Neverwinter was from Evernight. It's full of all manner of creatures, most predominantly Eladrin, pixies and sprites, and various other sentient beasties. It's a pretty nice city, yeah. Salvador says, while we're here, I need to do some shopping. Do you guys mind?
That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine too.
I would like to
Ariazi's
come
already
with
like
you.
trying to explore.
I will come with you. I love shopping.
Yeah, I mean...
Qatar's like, in that case, I'm going with Nyla.
Yes, Qatar takes up the role of Escher, making sure she doesn't steal anything.
What? No, it's fun, Qatar. You can stay. Just hunt or something, or whatever. You braid things into your hair. I don't know what you do, but it's fine.
He like lifts up a lock of his hair, and he's like, my hair are already braided. I have dreadlocks, but okay.
You just braid other things into them. I don't know what you hippies do.
Salvador is already looking for a shop.
And like run after him.
And Qatar follows you.
So in the shop, despite the fact that everything is in the Feywild, like, it's still a shop, but it's very difficult to ignore how Fey-y it is. The person that runs the counter is an Eladrin. A spring Eladrin, in contrast to Sal's block of ice hair. And they the shop is set up. It's carved into a little tree. There's a little nook, and it's overgrown with wildflowers, which haven't been touched by the frost because it's deep enough into the tree that they're sheltered from the cold. It's very, very fey-y. It's very strange. Sal is going to get a couple things. He wants some silver powder. He's going to spend 50 gold to get 50 gold worth of silver powder, and he's going to bless a vial of water to make it holy water.
Nyla's just trying to sneak around Qatar.
Which is great because he's got, excellent perception.
Fuck you.
And while Nyla is preoccupied trying to steal, probably, or something like that, Sal is going to very quietly ask if he can get another holy symbol, and the clerk very unhelpfully is like, "We have all manner of holy symbols. What kind would you like?" He's like, "Please keep your voice down."
Nyla pops up on his shoulder.
So
I would like to imagine the counters are taller than Nyla.
Everything is taller than Nyla.
She leaps up and puts both arms over the counter, like, wait.
Yep. Like, hoist myself up on it, so I'm sitting. So what you doing?
Nothing, it's fine. And the shopkeeper puts out, it's a big, display box, and it's full of a whole bunch of different religious symbols and holy symbols, and it's just like, "We have a fine selection to choose from. Which god do you follow?" Oh, I was really hoping we could not do this very loudly.
Nothing, Sal?
He looks frantically at, he doesn't recognize half of the symbols. He knows quite a bit about religion, but it feels bad to just kind of pick one at random.
So don't, we don't have to do this right now, Sal. You take some time to think about it. It's not a rush.
He says, "Well, I mean, I need a holy symbol. If I don't have a holy symbol, I can't use magic."
Well, you have a holy symbol, right?
It may not quite work as intended.
What do you mean?
Nothing. He spends a while looking at all the holy symbols, and he's like, he can't make up his mind. He's like, "Never mind, I'll just take the silver powder for now, I guess."
Qatar is going to look at Nyla and be like, he's used to being a dad, right? But he's going to look at you in this very fatherly sort of way, like, "Okay, child, shush," sort of way, because Nyla's like, "Wait." Is the shopkeep starting to put away the symbols, or because
yeah, Salvador he wanted a new holy symbol, but then confronted the fact that he can't just pick one at random. That's not how clerics work. Clerics need to dedicate their life to dedicate their worship to a particular god.
I just wanted to see if there's anything for Myliki in there. He's like, just wanted to check.
Oh, almost certainly. This is the Feywild. Myliki's all up in this business.
Right. So he's going to ask the clerk, it's like, "I have this bow." And he pulls out oath bow. I was looking for something more.
I want to clarify. Oath bow's a long bow, which means it's 5 feet long. So
exactly.
I have this bow, clonk.
Exactly. This giant ass bow just puts it down. He's like, as a follower of Myliki, I was hoping to, I don't know, do you have anything of that flavor that I could use with the bow?
She says, "Oh, certainly!" And she starts flittering off, looking for something Myliki-ish and decorative. She eventually, finds a string of prayer beads, maybe, that you could, put around the,
hilt.
The hilt, yeah. It's called a hilt with the bow.
Grip.
So while he's distracted,
Riser.
Can I possibly try to sneak away?
I guess this would be a stealth check versus passive perception, or perception if he's deliberately looking out for her. Nope, Qatar, you do not notice. She successfully sneaks away.
All right, so she's gone. He's like, yes, prayer beads. That's a nice touch. I like it. I don't even know how much gold he has, by the way.
Qatar probably doesn't have much. He's probably used to bartering more than buying things.
Exactly.
I don't know, maybe not. I always imagined the village was a less economy driven, more trade,
I always had
barter.
That. Yeah, that more bartering thing. So I was like, what does he have that he can barter?
He still has. Oh god, I just realized he still has Sal's
pedigree.
His scroll of pedigree, which Sal definitely does not want anymore. He wants to throw that thing in a fire, so he could try to barter with that. I don't know if it'll get anything, but
right. That's what I was like. Okay, that's something. He's like, I have this scroll.
Yeah, why not? She's like, yeah. She's like, well, I've never heard of this family, but it certainly is a nice oddity, and I can certainly display it. Sure. Yeah, you get some prayer beads to tie around.
Is Sal fine with that? You just gave away.
No, Sal. The pedigree is for his father's side of the family, which he wants absolutely nothing to do with that side of his family anymore.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, and he's gonna.
I like that Qatar is intuitive enough to be like, yeah, he doesn't want this anymore. You can have it.
Right, exactly. You can have it. All right, so we get some prayer beads, and he's gonna like turn around and be like, "Night."
Sorry, I wasn't watching.
Is
I
there
wasn't
anything else
watching
you
for
need
her.
here, Salvador?
Salvador is already starting. There's a spell. The spell ceremony can make holy water. He wants a vial of holy water, which because it can't hurt going up against a hag.
Yeah, right.
He's already starting the spell, enchanting some water to make it into holy water, but he's having trouble with it because he doesn't have a holy symbol, and also he's losing his faith. The spell is sputtering on and off, and he's kind of like, come on, fucking work.
Salvador.
I'm fine. Just give me a minute. It takes a long time to do this spell.
It probably won't work if you don't believe.
I said it's fine.
If you say so. He doesn't really buy that, of course. Like, hey, it's fine. I'm just sputtering on this spell that shouldn't be sputtering. It's cool.
Have they left the shop yet?
I don't know. If Salvador it's probably not in good form to cast magic inside someone else's shop, so he's probably just outside casting magic.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, where did Nyla go, by the way?
I didn't go anywhere. I'm staying inside. After they're gone, I'm gonna sneak back up to the counter. And I'm gonna be like, excuse me, ma'am, down here.
The Eladrin looks at, oh yes, a halfling. I haven't seen one of your kind in quite some time. What can I do for you?
Can I see those holy symbols? I know you've been getting them out a lot.
Yeah, this is the third time. It's pretty weird. Must be a religious group. She pulls out the little display rack and opens it for you.
Is there one of Eldath in there?
You know what? Probably. There probably is. Yeah, just because this is the Feywild and Eldath is a nature oriented goddess. Yeah.
Okay. I point at it and I go, that one, please.
She says, "All right, that'll be 25 gold pieces."
She pulls out her pouch and she counts every piece very reluctantly.
I'm amazed. Then again, if you're I was gonna say Nyla, why wouldn't she just steal it? But if you're good, this is the worst thing to steal.
She's trying to do something for Sal. And
stealing a holy symbol of a goddess of
peace. Oh god, yeah, the goddess would be like, no.
Well, she's also this is a symbol for Sal, she wants to, she's not going to show up and be like, I stole this.
I mean, Sal already has a holy symbol for Eldath.
I know.
But it's more of a gesture.
Okay. You have a holy symbol for the goddess Eldath. Her symbol, so the only holy symbol for her you've seen is Sal's, which is, obviously he probably had it made specifically. It's probably got some weird magical properties that it can do and shit like that. But you've never actually seen the symbol of Eldath. It is a waterfall falling into a large pool.
Oh,
pretty.
And I imagine this holy symbol, because it's not quite as fancy schmancy as Sal's, is probably just like a pendant on a necklace, like a silver pendant. But you have that now. Yeah. You can put that in your inventory.
I think as I do that, I go, do you know, are there any temples in the city?
Oh, there's plenty of temples in the city, yes.
Is there a temple to the goddess Eldath?
Well, Eldath doesn't typically have temples. Those who worship Eldath usually do so at the pools.
Oh, yes, I know that. Thank you. I do know that thing. Thank you so much for your help.
You're welcome.
As I walk out, you see her almost grab something, and then she puts it down.
So just a question for the team. Should Selwyn purchase a bow and some silvered arrows, just since we are going up against hags?
You should do whatever you think, because casting magic is, yeah.
Well, no, she said
the magic should be okay soon.
What's the silver hours for?
Fighting, if need be. If I run out of spell slots or any other disaster happens.
Always good to be prepared.
And that'll be quite a sum of money that you'll be spending on it, but you can.
Yeah, that's true.
You can do whatever you like. It is Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really her style, which is why she's never really had one.
I imagine Selwyn is at the counter haggling. Like, well, how much does it cost? I've never really used a bow before. It'd probably have to be a short bow.
Oh, she's used them before. Her older sister would have taught her, but it's just not really her style.
So as you are hedging and hemming and hawing, should I get it? Should I not get it? Because it is really expensive, especially those silvered arrows.
Yeah,
those are going to be pretty expensive. She says, she's laying out the price table for you, and she says, well, if you decide to buy it, be careful, they're obviously the silver arrows are quite precious. And she says, and are you going to be staying in the city long?
We might be.
Well, you should be careful, there's the frost plague going around. You probably saw it from the outside of the city. Just, be careful.
So that's the strange frost in the air? What's up with that?
Oh, the frost plague, yes. It's taking quite a lot of our citizens so far, but we've got a team of healers and, various clerics who are doing their work. They're doing their best to stem the tide, but, it is very, very communicable, so please be careful.
How can we protect ourselves? When did it start?
Oh, it started quite some weeks ago. It's ratcheting up to plague status, I'm afraid. Hopefully the clerics will be able to work quickly. And the best way to protect yourself is to just not get close to those infected. It's very easy to spot them. They're covered in sheets of white ice and find it difficult to breathe and move.
Thank you.
You're perfectly welcome.
Concern.
Everspring usually isn't like this. It's actually a very nice city. You just came at a bad time.
Yeah, I was wondering. The name seemed a little ironic.
Yeah, that's not lost on us. The frost plague on the city of Everspring, yeah, it's we notice.
Is there maybe something causing it?
I don't know. I am but a simple shopkeep.
Okay. Well, thank you again. I think the bow isn't really my style, but I do appreciate you showing it to me.
Oh, that's all right.
I should probably get back to my friends. I don't know where they all went.
Salvador still outside is like, fucking work! Stupid thing! Become holy!
So I thank her again and scuttle out of the shop.
Salvador is still outside, desperately fighting with it. He eventually, gives up in frustrations, ugh, this is too hard to do.
Guys?
What?
There's, so, how there was that, weird fog and ice and such around the city?
The one we saw outside, yep.
It's a plague.
Oh boy, let's go home, guys.
That's it? Quest over?
Quest over.
She starts to leave, and Ariazi starts to leave, and Qatar grabs her by her hair and pulls her back. She's like, ow!
Plague, fuck that! I'm out!
And I share the information about the infected and that it's highly contagious and that I don't, the timing is a little odd.
You think?
Yeah, I know.
Salvador says, frost plague. He looks around, you hadn't noticed it before because you were very busy, we gotta find a shop, I need some stuff and everything. But now that you're looking at it, there are a lot, there's a suspicious number of clerics going around from house to house, and there's also one very large wagon sitting about 200 feet away from you, which is covered with a large tarp, but which you now see there is a body being carried toward it on a stretcher. Covered body, of course, because, it's more respectful, but yeah. They are being the body is being carried by two clerics. Salvador's like, oh shit, should we talk to them, get a little more information? Although I don't know if it's a good idea to get close to infected corpses.
Very, very infectious.
Oh, great.
The clerics, you can see they are wearing large protective masks and stuff.
It might be better to maybe try to find a temple or somewhere where we could find a cleric and maybe not the plague.
When do we ever go anywhere nice? Come on, guys.
In the defense of Everspring, it's probably very nice when it's not under a plague.
Right, half of it is fine, but the plague part, I don't like plagues.
This is the exception and not the rule.
Nyla pops up out of nowhere and is like, hey guys, what's going on?
Where did you come from? Where did you go?
Qatar spins
where
around
did you come from, Cotton Eye Joe?
Where have you gone?
Thank you.
Cotton Eye Joe.
We finished it.
I was shopping. Oh, hey, Tessa, can I have bought a dress for Sassy?
Yes, finally.
Oh, God.
Sassy. Finally, you're holding up your end of the bargain.
And so I want to clarify here. I did buy it. I did not steal it. But I'm gonna give it to Sassy and be like, stolen from the finest finest shop in town. Just for you.
It's beautiful. Is it beautiful? What does it look like?
It's gaudy as fuck.
I was gonna say it's Victorian level gaudy.
It is like fake costume jewelry encrusted. It looks
just up Sassy's street. In other words,
lime
exactly
green and purple plaid.
And I will. I don't know how much that would cost, but I'm willing to deduct it from my.
It probably not more than like 5 gold.
Okay.
If it's not inherently magical, it's probably pretty cheap.
Yeah. Okay. It's not. It's very very. So it's just like covered in like fake rubies and shit.
Sassy immediately like strips bare in the middle of the street, which would be scandalous if they, had anything worth showing, but they don't.
If they had skin.
Yeah. But they immediately pull the dress on and like, I'm gorgeous. Finally, something fit for Rodley Orcslayer, the wielder of Frostborn and scourge of the 12 clans.
That's a new one. But yeah, definitely, it's the dress befitting someone of your status. Absolutely. Okay, well now since we got that out of the way, I've been trying to do that for like a month now.
Thanks. Now we have to stare at it the whole time.
You're so welcome. Okay,
no, that was sarcasm, Nyla.
I know you. I walked with you once upon
Oh my god.
a dream.
Oh my god.
You heard tone deaf. Stop.
I know you. Look in your eyes so familiar. We're gonna get copyright stricken. It's too perfect.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to get Sassy some more fancy dresses.
What other Disney songs do they know?
Yeah, so about that plague, y'all.
He got distracted.
A plague? There's a plague? What?
Yeah, there's it's called a frost plague, and
creative.
highly infectious.
How do we not catch it?
Yes, that.
Avoiding the infected, and she said they'd be very obvious.
Oh, you mean like that cart of like dead bodies over there? So we should probably leave right now. That's a good idea, right?
Did you guys want to talk to go find a temple or something? Or do you just want to not? It's up to you. It is Dungeons and Dragons.
Temple. Let's find some clerics. That's what Ariazis would think.
The shopkeeper did mention that there's like a big concerted effort of a bunch of clerics trying to mop
try
this
to
up.
Fix it.
Yeah. Obviously, like, a temple's not easy to spot. It's like the only thing made of stone in like a city where everything is built into trees. They've got the big round symbol, and you can see like out front there's a whole bunch of clerics of like a bunch of different faiths that you recognize. Qatar, there are some from Myliki. That's not a surprise. This is the Feywild. Her followers are going to be everywhere. There are a couple from Eldath as well. There's a lot from Sylvanas, but the bulk of them are wearing this one particular holy symbol draped around their necks, and I would like everyone to roll religion to see if they recognize.
Okay, I was going to say,
symbol.
can we figure out what it is?
So Qatar, yes, you, with a dirty 20, Qatar, you recognize this symbol. This is the symbol of the god Ilmater. Ilmater is, so there's a lot of lore behind Ilmater, and like you don't have time to unpack all of it. The only thing, the big things about Ilmater is that he is famous for taking the suffering of others onto himself. That's a big tenet of his philosophy. He's all about, he's very, very, for example, anti-torture. His clerics and his paladins are known to be very against those who would cause suffering. They also, they're sort of like the ideal charity. Like, they go where they need to go to stop suffering and for no other reason. Mm-hmm. They have a very decentralized form of, like, it's not very hierarchical, their system of clerics and paladins, and they're like, aside from like the sort of grisly iconography of the followers of Ilmater, which like Ilmater is always depicted as like a bloody man who's been like whipped and beaten and stuff, but apart from that, they're usually welcome everywhere they go, because everyone, like, they come to alleviate suffering. Like, that's their only purpose in life.
Yep, that is their whole thing.
Yeah. So apart from the grisly iconography, you're not, that they're fine. You do not mind that at all. Ilmater is a good egg.
So I guess
Salvador, who rolled an 11, is like, who are all those people?
Qatar like looks at the all of the clerics bustling around, and then like looks back at anyone like, no, nobody else. No, okay.
Nope.
Nope, you're the only one who got higher than an 11.
Right. He's like, those are all clerics of Ilmater.
Ilmater? He's like, well, should we help? I feel like maybe we should, I should help, right? Like, I can heal. Well, I'm probably not as good at healing without my holy symbol or anything, but we should at least see if we can help. Right? And he suddenly looks really, really worried. Like, should he actually be helping? This is the thing. This is part of the thing that made you guys not like him that much. So maybe he shouldn't help?
God.
We can-
Nyla.
We should at least ask, Qatar says.
We should see if there is anything we can do.
So the group of clerics that you saw outside, mostly Ilmater, but also, sprinklings of other gods. There's a cleric of Sylvanas. You can tell Sylvanas' iconography is hard to miss. He's big, severe, true neutral nature god. They're all sort of collaborating. It sounds like they're talking logistics. How do you want to approach?
Ariadne's this whole time has looked like she wants to run, she really doesn't like the idea of a plague, and she's like, oh my god, what if they're infected too?
Oh my god, Ariadne is a germaphobe, confirmed.
Yeah, she's like, ah!
This dirty hobo who lives in the woods is a germaphobe.
I love it.
Oh my god. Qatar's just like, okay, we're gonna have words about that later, but right now I'm busy. And he's gonna go over to one of the clerics and excuse me.
The cleric turns around. Yes, can I help you?
Sorry for interrupting your work. We just got into town and we heard about this plague. What's going on with it?
He says, it's been striking a lot of cities. By circle, and he gestures to the other clerics of Ilmater. We've been following it around quite a lot. It's the frost plague. It causes a lot of suffering, and we've been trying to stamp it out, but it's been spreading to a bunch of different cities across this plain.
Do you have any idea where it came from? What caused it?
He shakes his head. He says, I have no idea. And he kind of looks over at Salvador's like, is that one all right? He looks like... Salvador's like, oh no, it's fine. I'm an Eladrin and I'm very sad. I don't have the plague.
We can attest to that. He is not sick.
He is also very sad. We can attest to that.
He lost his entire family recently, yes.
It's been awesome. It's been great.
Let's tell everybody else some more about Sal's personal...
Let's not.
Also, he's gay. Should we talk about how he's gay?
Yes. Hello, random stranger. Please come here. Sit down.
Qatar
I have
is
a
just
story.
Okay, anyway, is there anything that we can do to help? My daughter and I are a druid. We have a cleric.
Very, very businesslike. He says, do any of you know the spell Lesser Restoration?
I look blankly at everyone.
Salvador's like, I know the spell. And the cleric immediately goes over to him and is like, you're a cleric? It sounds like, well, kinda. I've had a recent crisis of faith.
Funny enough, Qatar has that prepared too.
Nyla steps up and she pushes him forward and she's like, yes, he knows that spell and he is a cleric. He's a very good cleric.
Well, the thing is, I recently had kind of a crisis of faith, and my ability to cast magic has not been as great as it has been, and I don't really like wearing my holy symbol anymore for personal reasons. And the cleric is staring at, Sal is stumbling through this way too personal explanation. Sal is oversharing with this complete random stranger. And eventually the guy says, okay, so if you need a holy symbol, and he rummages through and he shoves one of the symbols of Ilmater at Sal, and he says, here, take this and just go use Lesser Restoration.
Qatar adds, I also have that prepared.
Then you go help him. We need all the hands we can get.
We will. Let's go, Salvador.
Salvador is holding this foreign holy symbol, and he's kind of staring at it a lot, even as everyone is sort of shepherded into the temple. This temple, by the way, is being used as a sick house. You can the moment you open the door, you can see there's rows and rows of beds with people of all different shapes and sizes. They're all you can understand why the cleric thought Sal had the frost plague, because they all look like their entire bodies are covered in this very thin sheet of blue-white ice. And it looks they're all you think you would be shivering if they could move better, which they can't because they are almost frozen solid. But you can tell that they're in a lot of pain. There's a lot of, obviously, how when you hold ice up onto your skin long enough, it really starts to hurt?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine that, except all over your body, and you can't take it off.
My worst nightmare.
And I was like, me, Kay, who hates being cold, in anything. I'm like, oh my god, I hate it.
You all are shoved in, and there's, anyone who can cast Lesser Restoration, we think it might be it's enough to relieve the disease. As Lesser Restoration, you catch a creature and end one disease or one condition affecting it. The only problem with that is, of course, most people only have 3 or 4 level 2 spell slots, and they only have so many clerics. But so Salvador, he is staring at this this man just gave him this holy symbol of Ilmater, and he has this look on his face, right? Like, he's staring at this holy symbol, and he's wondering how much of a coincidence this is that he just happens to run across, the circle of ill matter, and they just happen to shove one of his holy symbols into his hand, and right as he's had this huge crisis of faith, and he's starting to wonder, he's staring at the holy symbol, and then he kind of looks up at the ceiling of the temple, like, is this a divine sign?
Qatar's like, aren't you going to try it out?
He says, I mean...
The symbol?
I guess. He fastens it around his neck, and he goes over. He's really hesitant, but eventually he puts his hand on one of, they're sick and they told you not to touch them, right? So what does he do? He goes over and touches them. He goes over, he uses a 2nd level spell slot, and it works. He successfully casts Lesser Restoration through this other holy symbol.
Qatar doesn't say anything, but he kind of smiles to himself and also goes to another afflicted person and also casts Lesser Restoration on them.
The cleric who had shepherded you in just sort of watches this, and he says, okay, good. Now keep doing it until you run out of those spell slots. We need all the hands we can get. So, to be clear, Salvador will absolutely he will use all his spell slots if you don't stop him.
Yeah, I mean, Salvador probably shouldn't use all of his spell slots. We might need those. I mean, just saying.
But he will, because he's Sal.
Because he's Sal. I mean, Qatar can be like, I think one of us should keep at least one spell slot available for...
Nyla looks at the rest of you and is like, he needs this.
Ariaz is like, needs what? We need to get out of here? Germs? What?
Yep, that's Get out of here.
I love the germaphobe Ariazi's headcanon. That's my new favorite headcanon.
Ariazzi's and Cell, let's go. We have to go find somewhere clean. And she grabs you both by the arms and just forces you. She's very short, but she still tries to force you out of there.
Okay, where are you taking us, Nyla? What's happening?
Out. We need
out. Oh, okay, that's fine.
Salvador needs this. He needs to be able to do this.
Okay, I like being around not sick people, so that's good.
So let's fast forward toward you guys use up as many spell slots as you are willing to use. Salvador probably goes through all of them because there are a lot of people that need healing right now. But eventually you both walk out of this temple. Salvador's kind of tired because he just used a lot of magic. But as he walks out, he's staring at this holy symbol.
And
are you?
Qatar is staring at him.
Yeah, I feel like we were just waiting outside this whole time. Maybe there was a cafe or something like that. We got some coffee.
Maybe we found an inn to find a room for the night and we're just waiting for them all.
Qatar is still staring at Salvador and it's like, so what happens if you abandon Elda?
He looks sideways at Qatar and then back down at the holy symbol and he says, I don't know.
Specifically to the glade, I mean.
He repeats, I don't know.
I see. Well, of course, as someone who lives in the High Forest and has heard about your family for a long time, I do care a lot about the glade, but if this is something that you feel was destined or fated, then it could be a good thing.
Salvador says, I'm not sure I believe in destiny or fate.
Oh?
He says, well, no, I've never really have. I don't really believe that things are preordained. I always believe that... I've always been taught to believe, at least, that fate is the consequence of human choice, not the other way around.
That's fair. I've always thought that there is some degree of fate. I like to believe that I was at least reborn so I could be Ariazi's father.
He says, well, you've been doing a pretty good job at it so far, so... If anything in this world is preordained...
He, sighs and mutters, not according to Selwyn.
He's like, that sounds like a thing that you have to unpack on your own. It sounds like I really can't help you with that.
Yeah, I'm happy if this new god brings you peace. I'm just worried about your place in all of this. If there's nobody in the glade.
You're not wrong to worry, and honestly, I'm a little worried too. In my heart, I can't, it's hard for me to unlearn a life built on pacifism and nonviolence. He says, but I'll do what I have to do to keep the only people left in my life around. And if that means giving up Eldath, maybe that's just what that means.
He sort of, like, has this wistful smile on his face, like, I thought you might think like that.
Sal doesn't know what to say to that. And now he's getting nervous because he's looking wistful, which makes him look more handsome than usual, and Salvador's like, oh no, I'm gay. Then he short circuits because he's in the Feywild. He's like, I have to go place. And then he leaves.
And then Akatara immediately finds his daughter. Direction. He's like, I think your idiocy is rubbing off on Salvador. And Ariazi's like, rude!
You spend the night, I assume, and Sal gets all his spell slots back. He kind of wants to, like... So, I mean, it's up to you. It's Dungeons & Dragons. Do you want to spend another day? Because technically you have one more day before Selwyn gets her strength back. But, she doesn't necessarily need her strength score to cast magic if she needs to. I leave it up to you guys.
I would vote no. I think Nyla's viscerally saying that we shouldn't waste time because we still don't know how long it's going to take Beshaba to get out,
right?
And we can't afford to lose in time.
Yeah, I mean, Selwyn is 100% like, no, we need to do this. Like, I knew this was a potential side effect. I knew this could happen. Like,
yeah, we can't afford. We can't waste time. We can't. If this happens again, what are we gonna do? You don't have another one of those spells. We've gotta book it.
All right. So you elect not to stay in Everspring another day. Salvador does manage to talk briefly with the other clerics of Ilmater, but only for like one morning before. He gets they're not used to recruiting. Like, recruitment is not a big thing for the followers of Ilmater. Like, they're too busy doing, the good work and the charity, the shit that their god requires them to do. But there's like, yeah, I think we have a pamphlet somewhere. We can dig that up for you. Do you want to ask for directions? You only have a vague idea of where the Coven is.
Yeah, that might be a good idea.
Yeah.
Ask somebody, like, hey, we're looking for a bunch of witches. Where can we find them? I mean, hags.
Well, it does, like, asking a bartender is probably, like, if you want to know where anything is around a city, you always ask, like, a bartender or a librarian. Like, they're the people who know everything.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a bartender at the inn you're staying at, and she'll tell you, like, what? Why are you looking for the Coven?
That's really not important, says Ariazis, but we really need to know.
Says, all right, I guess it's not any of my business. Yeah, take the road north out of the city, keep to the edge of the cliff. Eventually, you'll see a big sycamore tree marker of a very winding path that goes down to the shoreline. Be careful, okay? Like, they're hags. You don't fuck around with hags.
Yeah. Second question. Have you heard of any other people that have dealt with them and how they died horribly?
I mean, yeah, they're hags.
Specifically, what ways have they died?
Well, usually they die. Usually it's the young women that die giving birth to hags. Do you not know how hags reproduce?
You know what? I try not to think about it. Thank you so much for your information.
Okay.
Wait, no. As you're like walking away, Nyla walks back and she's like, no, I want to know. I'm very curious.
It's like, okay, well, I mean, the way that hags make more hags is by usually tricking or, bribing young wayward women into carrying children for them. There's a hag hex that lets them curse them pregnant. And the labor is usually enough to kill them. And then the daughter that they birth becomes a hag later in life. It's their reproductive cycle. It's ghoulish.
Nyla looks absolutely horrified. Like, I think it's probably Nyla's worst nightmare, actually. It's like being impregnated.
Yeah, y'all, the section on hags in the monster manual is fucking gnarly. Like, I've been reading it. It's foul.
Is there anything else we need to ask? I feel like, I don't feel like being like, well, how do we defeat hags? Probably people are just gonna be like, don't
fight them.
Right, exactly. A good way, rule of thumb is just, don't talk to them.
Yeah, the bartender is quick to point out, like, if it's one hag, they're usually very easy to kill, but when you've got a coven, they become exponentially more powerful.
Oh, one of the questions is, do we know how many are in the coven?
Always 3.
Always 3.
Always
okay.
Exactly 3, yes.
And do we know what kind of hags they are?
This is the Feywild, so they would be green hags.
Fuck, they're gonna want to trade something probably.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not getting pregnant.
Nope.
She like looks around at the rest of you and it's just like, just don't even think about it.
We already established that.
Okay,
I
so
think
yeah.
we just gotta go, yeah.
I was gonna say, you can keep asking the bartender questions, but they're, like, not a biologist. Like, they don't...
Yeah.
So you follow the bartender's directions, because the bartender knows everything, always. You head north out of the city, and there is indeed a very large, out-of-place sycamore tree growing right onto the edge of the cliff that serves as a marker. And indeed, the path down the cliff is huge. It's like a 300-foot drop, and the path down to the coast is very narrow and winding, and full of full of loose rocks and things like that. So it's quite a dangerous trek down. But you do all make it eventually safely, and the coast is kind of gorgeous. Like, the sea is roiling. It's the waves are hitting the shore very hard. Further up along the coast, they are hitting the cliffside itself. But eventually, yes, as you are looking around at this long stretch of coastline, you do see a large cave, not far from where the path ends, the path leading down from the cliff. How do you want to approach this, my friends?
Okay, is there something we can trade them? We're asking for information. We're asking for information about the pillars.
Yeah, so... what do we know about Hag specifically?
I mean, I've told you bits and pieces of it. They are very big on bargains, so it's not a bad thought to ask, what do we have to offer them? They will almost certainly ask for repayment for doing what they do. And at least one thing they want. They want more hags. They want to make a separate coven.
Ariazi's like, I just really, really hate that.
I do have my creepy bone pipes. Like, I feel like that's very hag aesthetic.
There's no way to know without asking them.
Yeah, but that's true. They might be interested.
Okay, but we need backup plans, because is that really enough to trade for the knowledge we're asking? We're asking about very powerful...
I know that. I'm just saying as like a one thing that I have.
No, I hear you. What do I have?
Sal very quietly says, I have my old holy symbol.
Qatar's like, perhaps you should hold on to that.
It's not a normal holy symbol. He says it's... I didn't really have time to explain it, because by the time I got my memories back, I was, dying inside. But the water in the gem is very potent. It mechanically, if he breaks the gem and he pours it into the mouth of someone who's died, they come alive with the effects of the spell True Resurrection.
Oh wow!
Absolutely not.
But it's a one-time use. It's a one-time use thing. It's not like you can't just replenish it.
So Qatar blatantly refuses. Like, nope, absolutely not.
Sal says, I don't know. I mean, do we have anything else of value, of significant value? I don't think hags like gold all that much.
I pull out my jar of ooze. I still have this quicksilver.
Salvador's like, oh, no, don't tell her.
Okay.
I don't know does anyone know if hags like quicksilver?
I don't know.
It's not a bad idea, like Nyla hasn't realized that it's not quicksilver yet, but you could try to bluff them with it, make them think it's quicksilver. Quicksilver is very, very precious.
I think this is a good idea.
Of course you do.
The quicksilver is precious. The thing she has is not quicksilver, but the statement "quicksilver is precious" is objectively true.
Right. It's like he's not wrong. Not wrong. Ariazis is going to be like, I don't think. Does anybody else have anything? I think those are our only options.
It's better to just ask. You've been dithering outside this cave for quite a long time, and
You have plans?
I have plans I want to get to.
The DM always has plans. Like, all right, well, if Sal offers his holy symbol, somebody needs to tie him up, Dad. Qatar's like, what?
I'm just saying, apparently he's into it.
Yeah, like, that's, apparently he's into that kind of thing, so, definitely don't let him get rid of that, but let's go in.
Okay, I guess we got as much of a plan as we're gonna have.
Half-assed as always, woohoo!
How do you want, physically, how do you want to approach it? Do you say
I don't
anything?
like
Do you...
that at all.
Are you, like, calling out, like, hello, hags, or are you just gonna walk into the cave?
We should probably announce our presence.
Right.
Who's the one that, it's probably Qatar. I feel like he's the one that projects leadership.
With minus
Not
2
Bones
charisma.
McGee right now.
Yes, with the -2 in charisma, it's like, hey, shit fucks!
So you know who shouldn't be the yeller is
Hey, you evil fucking hags!
Why would
Yeah.
you do that?
That's-
Oh god.
That's
Oh,
exactly
Owen
what he would do, so let's not have him do that.
like
Arias is just like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I got a
Wait.
big voice. It's
Wait.
fine.
wait. Oh fuck. Okay, fine. Just go for it.
Hello, hags!
Masterful.
Here for business! Hello!
It's masterfully done. There is some consternation you can hear from inside the cave, and slowly a low greenish mist snakes its way out of the cave.
I feel like I step back. Like I don't want to be like
Who dares? Who dares?
We come seeking your guidance.
Guidance? Guidance from
Knowledge?
hags. Knowledge.
Knowledge?
Knowledge. The mists part around your feet, and they swirl between your legs and around your ankles. And slowly, one of these green hags comes lurching out of the shadows of the cave, and behind her, 2 others. And she says, the first one, that is to say, the first one in the front of the group says, "You have courage to come here and face the Coven."
We don't really have a lot of other options.
He says, "You stand before Theodoria, Verania, and Witchblood."
I step forward and I'm like, we come because we hear that you are the most knowledgeable in this land.
The knowledge we have does not belong to us, but to the ether, to the magics that we may call upon.
Yep. Checks out.
Yep, magic is good. We need magical knowledge.
The one who introduced herself as Varania comes hobbling forward. She seems to be the oldest of the 3. Theodoria, who looks to be in the middle, and Witchblood, who looks younger comparatively. They're all sort of wizened. They're hags. But Varania comes hobbling forward toward you, Nyla, and she says, "You come to make a bargain.
We do.
Then enter, brave travelers." Varania and Witchblood start giggling as they enter back into the cave. And Varania ushers you all inside.
Can we do it out here? You sure we can't do it out here?
The magic is most potent inside the cave.
Excellent.
So do you follow them inside? Salvador, he is trying to be brave because you guys look all spooked, so he's like, "I can go in first if you want me to."
Nope.
No, we'll go in.
We'll all go in together, says Qatar.
So you all enter. So, this is like that dead dove gif. Like, I don't know what I was expecting. It's a cave where hags live. It's pretty gross. They decorate with moldering seaweed, and patches of, like, dead boughs of trees and stuff like that. It smells pretty bad in here, and you're not sure what that smell is, which makes it even more alarming, that you can't recognize it, but it smells really bad anyway. There looks like in the far back of the cave, it looks like there's some cages that are rattling. Larger cages, that are rattling around, and Verania, who had escorted you inside, he says, "The knowledge of the ether is very tempestuous, but we can answer questions 3 that you have." Mechanically, what they can do, because they are a coven, they have the spell Contact Other Plane, which allows them to contact usually like a semi-divine being on the other side of a different veil in a different plane of existence. But you do get 3 questions, and whether or not those questions get answered depend a lot on which being specifically they choose to contact for you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So in return for these questions...
Nothing is free, little halfling.
Of course. You think I don't know that? She, like, flashes a coin and, like, makes it, like, disappear. We have goods we could offer.
Such as?
She produces the vial of quicksilver with air quotes. with like a flourish, and I think she flashes it in front of her and then makes it disappear again.
Verania arches one eyebrow and says, "And what is that?"
Oh well, this old thing. It's just some quicksilver I picked up.
She extends one hand to look at it, like she wants to take it from you, to inspect the goods.
Because I think it's real. I give it to her.
She takes the vial, she turns it over in her hands, she uncorks it and sniffs it, and recoils a little bit. She recorks it and says, "This is the slime of an Oblex. Did you think me fooled?"
I'm sorry, what?
She throws it back at you.
I catch it.
Sorry, Nyla.
In her defense, she really did think it was that.
"What you ask of us is no mere trifle," Verania says. "It must be good and valuable."
I'll turn to the other two and I'm like, okay, no, thanks.
Witchblood stalks forward and eyes the three of you. She's like, "3 women I see, or mostly women."
I'm buried.
Like literally, she just said, "So you 3 ladies, I can't have kids."
Nyla screams and Darian's like, "What?"
Witchblood sort of chuckles and she leans down to your level, Nyla, and she says, "I guarantee you, my dear, it does not matter."
It takes like a big gulp and it's just like, I don't know if that's true, but okay.
What other price would you have?
Salvador is sitting there shifting from foot to foot like, there's the thing. He told you about the thing.
We know about the thing.
And she says, "We don't have a set list, my dear. We consider what is offered to us."
I'm like looking to see what Ariazis and Guitar have. I'm like,
yeah, I mean, Selwyn has Jawbone, but she's not giving him up. But she does have the secondary spell focus. She's got, like I said, the creepy aesthetic pipes.
Verania leans over to Theodoria, and they mutter to each other for a minute, and Theodoria lurches forward and says, "Perhaps your eye, pretty girl."
What?
"An eye," she says. "We make good use of eyes."
"Really? You're in the eye business?" I couldn't tell. Like, Ariazi's just like sweating bullets, like, "Oh boy, I hate this so much."
Like gaping like a fish.
Salvador says, Can't we just give them... I know you guys are against it, although I'm not entirely sure why, but...
Qatar says, "Because it is your duty, whether or not you believe in Elda. It is your duty to stay in the glade."
He grits his teeth, but he doesn't say anything.
"You cannot give that up. I will not allow it."
He says, "All due respect, Qatar, it's mine to give to who I will." Like my heart. Sorry, I couldn't hold it back.
I was
waiting. I can't not, guys. I can't not.
Oh god. Anyway, yeah, but Qatar will stop him if there's he's gonna try absolutely everything else. So we have to see if there's anything else.
Yeah,
we can give.
They seem pretty keen on the eye.
Yeah.
I'm rather keen on my eyes.
Can we grow it back? We can grow it. You just have a good eye patch.
Nyla, do you not know how
Are you
eyes work?
volunteering your own?
Actually, Regenerate should be able to regrow an eyeball. But that's a 7th level spell, and
yeah, right. Who has
Salvador does not have 7th level spells yet.
Yeah, that's not something I have.
Yeah, eyes. Maybe not a good idea.
Sal says, "I'll do it.
What?
I'll give them an eye."
Oh, I'll do it.
Sal says, "You trying to steal my thunder?" Let's try to.
Yep.
Arias is like looking back and forth between the two of you.
I think this comes down to who would look cooler in an eye patch.
And it's obviously me.
I hate to admit it, but yeah, it's obviously Nyla. Nyla would definitely look badass in an eye patch.
Arias is like, "Are both of you insane? Are you really having this conversation?"
Well, if you don't have a better idea, we need to do this. We're trying to save the fucking world.
I don't have a better idea. She looks at Selwyn.
Yeah.
And looks at Qatar helplessly, and he's like, "Oh, I don't know."
I look at Sal, and I'm like, "Sal, you've already suffered enough."
You've suffered too. We've all suffered. He says, if I'm going to be following ill matter now, maybe I should be the one to do it. That's his doctrine, isn't it? Take upon yourself the suffering of others?
Well, you can just find a way to heal me afterwards, right?
He says, there are spells that can regrow body parts, but I'm not powerful enough to use them yet.
We'll offer you the whole halfling.
No.
Take this halfling.
What?
Ariazi's like elbows her dad, and he's like, I was kidding.
I think she shoves Sal aside and she goes, no, you've been in enough pain already. I'll take this on.
The middle hag, Verania, leans all the way down to you, Nyla, and she inspects your eyes. What color are Nyla's eyes? Just out of curiosity.
Her eyes are gray.
Gray. She says, gray like the sea in the storm.
I suppose that's a way of putting it. She's trying not to flinch, but you can tell she's like I think she's putting on a lot of bravado, but she's shaking a little bit.
Verania leans down all the lower and she says, it hurts, you know.
You think I don't know that?
Salvador says, Nyla, are you sure you don't want me to do it? I don't mind.
You think I haven't experienced pain before?
This is completely different than anything you've experienced. I can assure you.
Well, you haven't lost an eye, so I'll be the first one to be able to tell you what it's like. And she just steps forward.
All right. Verania, who is still very close to you, pulls her hand up, and she has these long, talon-like claws, Nyla.
God.
And she says, brace yourself, little halfling. And she digs her fingers into your eye socket. You take 44 points of piercing damage as blood runs down your face, Nyla.
Excellent.
Are you still conscious?
I am still conscious, yes.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I imagine there's probably no shortage of screaming.
I think
Yeah,
she's
Qatar
actually-
just...
Wait. I think she's pretty stoic. I think that there's she makes a horrible sound, one horrible sound, and then it's completely silent with just whimpering noise.
Nyla! So yeah, it takes an excruciatingly long amount of time, and you can feel the tendons, right? Just pluck, like little violin strings snapping in behind your eye. And eventually, it is dislodged. You are one eye the less, Nyla. Salvador swoops in and immediately starts casting spells. He is going to use one of his 5th level spell slots on you. So you regain 33 points of that, so he heals up the worst of the damage, but there's still, blood running down your face. And he's like,
Yes.
God, are you okay?
Ariazi's still screaming in the background, oh my god!
I think she's shaking. She's just shaking and kind of catatonic, and she goes,
He hugs you very, very tightly.
Selwyn is doing literally anything she can to not think about this. She couldn't watch. She's just
Oh yeah, no.
horrified.
So Verania takes this plucked out eye and hands it to Witchblood, who inspects it carefully. And then Theodoria steps forward and she says, when we have questions about the ether and the multiverse, we usually contact Savras. I would like anyone who cares to make an Arcana or Religion check. Sal's not going to roll. He's too busy. He's preoccupied with Nyla.
That's really valid.
I was completely serious, Amber. I
Yeah.
definitely stand this friendship now.
no, I think it's reasonable.
It's
actually.
cute as hell. It's so cute.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think, and it's
Plus one
Nyla's
for-
never really had a very close friend, so this is definitely her first.
It's growth. You know what that is? Growth. Yeah, a nat 20. You have... Actually, Selwyn with her modifier rolled higher than you, even though she didn't roll a nat 20.
Yeah, there we go.
Both of you know the name Savras. Savras at one point was a mortal mage who was conscripted into the service of Maestra, the goddess of Arcana, of magic and knowledge. Savras is also known as the All-Seeing. He of the Third Eye, the Lord of Divination. He is known for knowing all things. So if you want to ask a question, that's probably the best case scenario of people you can ask is Savras.
A great dude.
Good.
Yes, and you have 3 questions under the spell, Contact Other Plane. I'm gonna quickly read off the description just so we're all on the same page. You mentally contact a demigod, the spirit of a long dead sage, or some other mysterious entity from another plane. You must ask your questions before the spell ends. The DM answers each question with one word, such as yes, no, maybe, never, irrelevant, or unclear, if the entity doesn't know the answer to the question. If a one-word answer would be misleading, the DM might instead offer a short phrase. So yeah, you've got 3 questions, And you have reason to suspect that if this guy is actually the all-knowing, all-seeing, he can probably answer pretty much anything you want.
Mm-hmm.
Nyla's not gonna ask any questions.
Yeah, Salvador isn't going to
valid.
ask any questions either. He's just going to sit there and comfort Nyla.
That's fine. Yeah, like you just had your eye ripped out. Totally fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Qatar and Ariadnes and Selwyn are all gonna confer.
Yeah. Is this only yes/no answers, or
The questions, you ask the entity. Oh, it's up to 5 questions. My bad. Up to 5 questions. You must ask your questions before the spell ends. The DM. It doesn't say they have to be yes/no questions, but the answers are ideally one word, unless a one-word answer would be misleading.
okay?
Because I'm like, we need to ask a where question, but
Yeah, but like,
Yeah, it does not have to
asking,
be.
Where is it? The Feywild. That's not helpful.
mm-hmm.
You know?
Where in the Feywild is it?
Like it's
Yeah.
a pretty beefy spell. Like it's not gonna. The power that this spell commands, like no one's gonna cheap you out. Like I wouldn't worry about. It's not like Wish. You don't have to be extremely specific and exact.
Are we gonna ask anything about like Beshaba, since they have no idea who she's talking to or about ever?
It's not a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
How long will they be trapped? For one thing, is probably
Yeah.
good.
That's good. How much time do you have? Mm-hmm.
How long will what be trapped?
How long did will the banishment last?
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah, you
how
could
much
ask
time
that.
we have. What are other things that would be good?
How
I mean,
long
we
will
could
it
also
last?
ask where the one is in the material plane. There's nothing that says we can only ask about the ones here.
That's true.
Do we know how to get out of the Feywild?
Salvador will. I mean, you're like neither of you are talking technically, but Salvador knows
yeah.
that you can go back out the way you came in.
Okay.
There are places similar to the Feywild, like in the Shadowfell, but instead of a place of great tragedy, it's a place of high magic, where lots and lots of magic has been cast, or they act as portals between the Feywild and the.
Qatar also has plane shift prepared, so that's an option. But that's also his only 7th level spell.
Plane shift could do it, yeah.
Yep. Where is the pillar material thing? Where's the material plane pillar? What else? We have 2 more questions.
At the risk of metagaming, you might want to ask about Baphomet.
Oh God, that's right.
Oh yeah, you're right.
How did I forget that?
Yep, that's way back. There was a lot of trauma in between when I last remember Baphomet, so
I lost my eye, motherfucker.
Yes. Okay. So Baphomet,
Baphomet.
specifically,
What's he trying to accomplish?
right? And then we have one more after that.
Is there anything else about the glade that we have questions about, and like Sal's past? Like,
Oh yeah, like his. How will his crisis of faith affect the glade?
That's not a bad question.
Qatar is like, that's his number one concern right now.
okay, so I think that's a reasonable set of questions. Then.
Okay.
How will his crisis affect the Glade? That's the 5th question.
Mhm. Yes.
Not like why did his father destroy the Glade?
That's Ariazi's question, but
I mean, knowing more about his momotivations would be good too. So we want to know about Baphomet's motivations.
I can definitely I can see this happening. As Qatar's like, ask how his crisis of faith is going to affect the Glade. It's like, shouldn't we ask about why the Glade was destroyed? Shut up! I need this. I need to know.
Yeah, it's more important that we find out why the glade was destroyed.
yeah, why did
Yeah.
he do that? Okay, why was the glade destroyed? Okay.
So as you all are, talking amongst yourselves, trying to decide what questions do we ask, what are important, the hags are circled around a cauldron in the middle of the room, chanting slowly as they begin the process of casting this very powerful spell. Salvador and Nyla, I imagine, are just sort of in the back, just, Sal has not stopped hugging Nyla since the whole thing started.
Bro
Yeah.
TP.
Nyla's like shaking and catatonic. She's like kind of not. She's just sort of like rocking back and forth. So yeah, not participating in this.
Sal is doing everything he can to comfort you. So the Verania, after the spell is cast, she crooks a finger and summons the others, the last 3 of you, forward to ask your questions. The room is filled with this eerie, misty green light, and from somewhere in the mist that's pouring out of this cauldron, you could swear there are 1,000 different colored eyes blinking at you.
Nice.
They are all
Yeah.
staring at you. Now is the time to ask your questions.
How long will Beshaba stay trapped?
The eyes all blink at different points of time at you as you ask this question. She says, The gods of Mount Celestia have been made aware of her presence and will hold her up for a few days, but not forever.
I guess Qatar will ask, where is the Feywild Pillar?
The world pillar of the Feywild that you seek lies in the heart of the 1,000-star tree.
And then Ariadnes is going to ask, where is the material plane pillar?
The world pillar of the material plane lies deep underneath Baldur's Gate.
Great. Oh, nice.
What is Baphomet's plan, his goal?
Baphomet struck a deal with the Doom Master you know as Drolana Nightlock. In exchange for an endless supply of devilish blood, he agreed to help the cult in their plan to get Beshaba to the world pillars.
Ariadnes looks very ill. And last question. I guess Qatar can ask it. Why was the Anarin Glade destroyed by Lord Porter?
The Anarin Glade was destroyed by Lord Porter because he needed access to his son. He requires the blood of 3 generations of his family line to get what he seeks.
Oh, motherfucker.
Oh my god, blood of 3 generations. Okay.
Great. But we don't know what he seeks.
Nope.
We're out of questions.
We sure are.
The eyes, one by one, blink out of existence in the fog, and the fog slowly dissipates. Hey friends, it's your favorite DM, Tessa Crowley. Thanks for listening. If you can't wait for the next episode, good news! You can join our Discord server to listen to episodes in pre-release, chat with me and the other Failers, and even listen live to episodes as we record them. Check it out at bit.ly/cfcdiscord. You can get information on the characters, players, and links to social media on our website, critfailclub.com. Crit Fail Club doesn't advertise at all. We rely entirely on word of mouth. So if you like our show, share it with a friend or on social media. We can't do it without you. Thanks for listening, and see you next time. Salvador is definitely gonna use as many as he unless you physically restrain him, he's gonna use all his spell slots.
Oh, that's kinky. I didn't know you were into that guitar. I mean,
Well, we know Sal's into it. Remember the tentacles?
Oh god. Qatar realizes he's into some really weird shit right now in the Feywild. Anyway.
It is canon. I made that joke, but it's canon now, so I guess, yeah, sure, why not? Salvador is into the weird stuff.
He is into... Okay, wow, you're right. I forgot about that because I heard the word tentacles and I erased my memory.
Oh, gosh.